this is Debbie with the Food Prepping channel, and today I'm going to make a dish. I think that it's on here somewhere, but I'm making this one a little bit different. I'm making a bread pudding, and this is a homemade bread pudding. And first, I want to tell you I've got my oven on preheating to 350, and I probably shouldn't have turned it on now. Oh well, it'll be all right. All right, and the next thing that I have is I've got like 3/4 of a cup, 3/4 of a package of raisins. I've got let me show you, the Sun-Made raisins, and I've got like 3/4 of that box. And I saw this somewhere. I can't remember where I saw it, but they put water in here to plump up the raisins. And I love raisins, but I do like them plumped up a little bit. So I just filled this up with water, and I'm letting this sit until I get around to the raisins. All right, and now here is my bread. And I used 2 of these, and I think it was 5 of these, and this is French bread, and this is just so I can't even remember what the name of this is, but these were in my refrigerator. I thought I was going to use them, but it's Labor Day weekend. I'm not going to be here, and so I'm making bread pudding, and I'm gonna, let me tell you, this is all that I need. So I had these 2 extra, and I save all the bread that I don't use or I'm not going to use. And beside my house and behind my house and all around me, I have over 400 animals. And we have cows and horses and donkeys and a camel and zebra and donkey and a horse. And no, we don't have a donkey yet. We've got a horse, and it's goats and pigs. And so anyway, Stephanie likes to go down and feed them bread. And they absolutely, the cows and the horses and the donkeys and all, absolutely love bread. And so I saved this, and I've got a whole bag of stuff out on the porch that we're waiting for them to come back up to the edge of the fence in a little while, and she'll take them down and feed them or whatever. But this was all I needed for this. And so Stephanie will take those outside.
Okay.
And so in this bread, you can see this is a huge pile of bread. And I have cut it up into chunks about this size. I want to say 1-inch cubes. But I don't really think it matters. I try to get them all the same size, but sometimes, let me see if I can find, like that one is a little bit bigger, and this one, but you know, I try to get them pretty much all the same size that I can. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I've got 1 stick of butter here, and I melted it. And this is butter, not margarine. I've started using butter because y'all told me butter is better. So I'm going to pour this 1 cup of butter around over this bread and just kind of let it soak into it. Get it as much around it as you can. And I've let, I had this bread, some of this bread in the refrigerator, and I got it out this morning, and I've let it sit to dry off some. And now I'm going to set this over here, and I'm going to show y'all what else you have to have for this recipe. And that's including the equipment too. So remember, it's 1 big bowl filled with your bread. You've got to have milk. I use 2%, just because it's what I've always bought for the kids. You're going to have sugar, white sugar, and brown sugar. The raisins you see back there. You've got to have measuring cups. I've got a 1 cup, a 2 cup, and a 4 cup. And then I've got another cup for the sugar and stuff. And then I've got I don't even know if I'll need these, but mainly the 2 measuring spoons that I use are the 1 tablespoon and the 1 teaspoon. I really just kind of always make sure that it's 1 teaspoon or a tablespoon. All right, and then I've got a big spoon and a fork to stir things with. You're going to have eggs, vanilla. I've got pure vanilla, McCormick's pure vanilla extract, and I use nutmeg. And I use these, let me show you. This is whole nutmeg, and see where I've been scraping it? This has got whole nutmegs in it, and this will last you forever because you only scrape off a little bit, and you need a microplane. And it comes like this, and this is very, very sharp. This is a microplane. And you use this to grate the nutmeg. And I'll show you when I get ready to do it or whatever. And then you've got to have another, well, let me get this on here. Well, okay, there you go. Had to get that because this is really sharp. You put your hand the wrong way on this and it'll just slice your hand. It'll like take all the skin off. It's terrible. All right, and then you've got to have another big bowl like this for your milk and all your stuff together. So what I'm going to do is let me get everything out and ready, and I'm going to go on and put 3 eggs. I'm going to use 3 eggs, and I'm going to put them in this measuring cup right here and beat them up. And then the milk and stuff I'll put in there, but I'll bring you back. Let me get all this stuff together and get it in the correct cups and stuff, and I'll bring you back. Okay, I'm back. All right, one thing I just realized, my table is not big enough. Not for these big things like this. So I'm going to be switching around, and I've got a table over here beside me. It's really my dishwasher, but I don't use it. It's filled with my keto foods or whatever. And so I'm just going to be switching bowls around to show, so I can show y'all. All right, with this, I've sprayed my Temptations casserole dish with Pam, and now what I'm going to do is I have these raisins. No, I'm not going to do this now. No, not going to do this now. All right, now we're going to switch bowls. Wrong. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is I have 5 eggs. Wait a minute, let me see. I can't remember. I put 2 extra eggs in here. I did have 3. All right, no, I didn't. All right, I'm just whisking the eggs up, and I've just got a fork. I've got a whisk for the other things, but I've got 5 eggs in here, and the only reason I'm using 5 eggs is because this is so big. All right, so I'm putting 5 eggs in this that I've whisked up into this bowl. I've got 4 cups of milk, and that may not be enough, but I'm going to hope that it is. All right. And with this size of a bread pudding, you don't have to use as much as I do, but, you know, what can I say? I'm just like that. With this, I'm going to put let me think. I'm going to put 1.5 cups. That's a little bit more than a half. 1.5 cups of white sugar, granulated sugar in here. This is not a fat-free dessert or a sugar-free dessert. This is good old country cooking. All right, so then I've got another cup of white sugar. I'm going to get in here and whisk this. And then I've got my vanilla back here. And where's my, here it is. I'm going to put 2 teaspoons of vanilla flavoring in this. All right, there's 1. There's 2. 2 teaspoons of vanilla flavoring. And then I'm going to get out my nutmeg. And get out the one I've been using for 6 months. And I'm going to take my microplane. I almost dropped it. I'm going to take my microplane and I'm just going to grate some nutmeg into this. You can use cloves, you can use allspice. I'm just putting some nutmeg in it. Stephanie says it makes her think of Christmas, and I guess it does, because you do use nutmeg at Christmas or whatever. And you can see I really didn't use that much, and I forgot my cinnamon. All right, let me see. Where's my cinnamon? Cinnamon. Let me bring you back. I don't see it. All right, I'm back. Ground cinnamon. I knew it was something I was forgetting, but I couldn't remember what it was. All right, so my other one, I didn't put my dry ingredient in, so I'm just going to use a tablespoon, but I'm not using that much. I'm going to use about a half of a tablespoon of ground cinnamon. I may put more in there. Yeah, I think I'm going to. Maybe 3/4 of a tablespoon of ground cinnamon. And now I'm going to whisk all this up. Cinnamon just doesn't like to be whisked up very much. I'm hoping that I can get this already mixed up good so I can pour this on the bread. And I'm going to go on and let me get this mess up, and I'm going to put my bread into my casserole dish. I was going to put all the stuff in my bowl, my big bowl, but I think I'm just going to put it in my casserole dish here and then pour all this stuff on that, and I'll bring you back. Okay, I'm back. All right, I forgot that I need to put a pinch of salt, and I was going to use my kosher salt, but I'm not. I've got Morton iodized salt. I'm just going to shake a little bit in there, because even though you're using a lot of sugar things, the salt just brings out the sugar and makes things taste a lot better. All right, now I've got this. I'm going to have to whisk it up again before I put it in my casserole dish. But here's my casserole dish. Let me turn you around so you can see this. All the bread, it's full, but the bread is going to shrink down, of course, once I put the milk on it. But now these raisins. Here's the raisins. Remember, it's got water in them. Well, I don't want to lose that flavor of the raisins. So as I'm putting these raisins on the top of this, and you put them in and push them down, I'm going to pour the water over this too, because I want that flavor, in here. And if some of it comes out, I might not use all of it, but if some of it comes out, or whatever, don't worry about it. You don't have to drain the raisins. At least I don't. Maybe some people do if they do it this way, but I don't. I just think that anytime you've got something that's not going to hurt you to use that liquid to use it, because it's going to give your dish more flavor. All right, so I'm just putting these raisins around, and you always kind of want to have, I use a lot of raisins. I do. I love raisins. So when I make this, I put a lot in here and push them down in there so everybody will have a bite of raisins. All right. All right, so that's all those. Let me wipe off my hands. And now I'm going to get this bowl and let me whisk it up one more time. Remember, it's got 5 eggs in it, 4 cups of milk, 1.5 cups of sugar, 3/4 of a tablespoon of cinnamon, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and microplane your nutmeg, or I guess you probably could use a 1/2 of a teaspoon if you've got ground nutmeg or whatever. I just love to use that because I like using my microplane. All right, so here's the mixture. I'm going to pour this on here. Spread it around, get it on all that bread. Oh, this is going to be so good. So good. All right, now I'm just going to take my fingers and I'm going to push this down in here because I want every piece of this bread to get soaked in that milk and egg mixture, because that's what's going to give this the good taste. It's got all the eggs in there and all the cinnamon and the nutmeg and the vanilla, and that's gonna really take this bread over the top. If you get all this mashed in and get it all wet and get it soaked in this milk, and you can see and I'm gonna let this sit for I don't know, about 30 minutes probably, because I want this to really be soaked down in here and all good. Remember, my stove is preheated. It's probably done now, but it was preheated to 350 degrees. And, okay, now, I've got everything in here that needs to be in here. And it's all soaking. And I'm going to let this soak for about 30 minutes, and then I'll bring you back and I'll show you what we're going to do for the top of it. Okay, I'm back. All right, this has been sitting. I've been outside talking to Stephanie and just forgot all about it. It's, I think, like 35 minutes now. This has been sitting, and the milk is all soaked into this bread, and this is going to be so good. But the first thing I'm going to do before I put this in the oven, the last thing, is I'm going to put some good old brown sugar on the top of it. Dark brown sugar, and I'm just going to spread it all around on top. My grandma used to make the best bread pudding and rice pudding. I love that too. Oh. All right, let me put a little, whoops. Oh, well. I know it's a lot of sugar in here, but wow, it just tastes so good. And I know I should be doing keto, but And don't forget, this is an awesome, awesome way to use your stale bread, your old bread, and make something good for your family or a neighbor that's sick or a person that's going to have a baby and she's going to be out of commission for a while, or, you know, anything. Of course, nowadays, when women have babies, they're home in a day and a half, isn't it? It's not very long. All right, so, and because this is brown sugar, I'll close up this bag really, really, really good. And then I put a rubber band around it. Let me show you. Just like this. And this goes in my refrigerator because I keep my brown sugar in the refrigerator, and that way it's always soft. All right, now this is going in my oven, which is on 350. I would say 45 minutes, but I'll let you know for sure when I get this out. Okay, I'm back. All right, so this is cooled off enough for me to eat it. I want you to see this. Oh my gosh, it is just so good. Listen. It's crispy on the top from that brown sugar. Oh my gosh, I know I've been tasting on it. It's so good. Every bite has a raisin. That's why I put so many raisins in it, because I want there to be, you know, a raisin in every bite. This is just so good. And you taste the brown sugar on the top of it. And you taste I definitely taste the vanilla. Definitely. 2 teaspoons of vanilla for that amount was perfect. But 2 teaspoons, let's just be honest. 2 teaspoons would be really good in a lot of this stuff like this. I love vanilla. I'm telling you, this is so good. So good. It's still hot. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. Look below for links to my Facebook, my Twitter, and also to different things that I used in my kitchen that you may want to use. And you have a good day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.